Welcome to episode 101. No, we're just 101. That's a bad habit. I hate when you do that, because when you say 101, it's like a decimal, right?
What do you mean when I do that?
No, the universal you.
Oh, I see. The plural,
Yeah,
the general
yeah,
you.
Yeah,
I mean, would it sound the same if it was 101 Dalmatians?
100. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's the proper way to say it. That's the proper way to say it.
Tomato, tomato.
Welcome to episode 101 of the OVW podcast, the unofficial podcast of Ohio Valley Wrestling. My name is Jack Minogues.
And I'm Brian Hines, and I'm here too.
I think I can be heard now. I had to fight Malachi to turn my mic up.
He's standing up for himself back there.
I guess.
Been an oppressive
Good for you, PS.
It's been an oppressive regime for too long. It's been an oppressive regime. I think he just turned you off. That's good stuff, Malachi. Keep with it.
Yeah.
Today we're getting into all the action from OVW Rise. That was OVW TV 1346, emanating from Hot Point Davis Arena, legendary Hot Point Davis Arena, on May 29th, 2025, as we enter into a new month here in the year of 2025, Brian Hines.
That's right, yeah. Today is June 4th, and it is also National Cheese Day.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
A good one. How did you celebrate?
With cheese.
Okay.
As opposed to International Cheese Day, which is March 27th. I'm sorry, I misspoke.
So today, American Cheese Day?
Let's see. So far, mozzarella and cheddar, and queso, I guess, is kind of on the spectrum too.
Yeah, I would say queso's it's just that's it.
In
means
case
cheese.
you were wondering,
it means cheese. Yeah. Well, thank you for that holiday update. Do we have a Haverford-West update?
I do not at this time. No.
Okay.
I think they're between regular play and going out to Europe to play. So
yeah,
that's good.
That's why.
Good.
yeah, they've been releasing people and announcing people are staying and new people are coming. You know, it's that time of year.
Then it is like wrestling.
Oh yeah.
People are leaving. People are staying. It's always an open door, I guess.
Yeah, but does anybody get hit with a chair or go through a table?
In the crowds, yes.
Okay, yeah.
I've seen some documentary footage of I'm not saying Haverford-West fans, but soccer hooligans, as they're called.
Right.
And those guys get pretty wild. Most of the time, not for great reasons, if we're being honest. But Haverford-West, those seem like good people. We want to start this episode by thanking convention pre-sales. This weekend, they have pre-sales from Dawn Marie, SoCal Val, Ruthie J, and Shelly Benson from the River City Wrestling Convention in St. Augustine, Florida. Visit convention pre-sales for more information on all of their selection over there. And then we have news about Overdrive as well.
We do. We have some new hosts for Overdrive. That is Jessica and Linda.
Jessica's the timekeeper.
Indeed.
Yes, indeed.
Good to see, always nice to see a face that you recognize at OVW be slotted into a new role, have a new position, get a new opportunity. So good for her.
Yeah, congratulations. I hadn't gotten to finish watching it yet, but I did see most of it live.
Oh, yeah, because you went last week.
Yeah, I went.
How was that last week?
It was great. It was good to be back. It had been a week or two, but I know you couldn't make it.
Yeah, I was at work.
Yeah.
Until
Bell time.
Sucker.
Time. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I asked, and you were like, I still got to do the things, and I was like, well, I'm going to go anyway. But I'm
glad you went.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah.
Especially this episode, because going back and watching it, that's one of the things that I like the most about this, is being there and experiencing it and remembering my initial reaction to things in real time, and then going back and watching it and getting the commentary and the official story of what's going on, as opposed to being there live and getting the unofficial version that you just kind of make up on your own.
After watching this week's episode, I'm kind of jealous that you were there by your lonesome last week.
It was like a tale of two cities.
This was
it really
great
was.
episode.
It was a great episode.
Fantastic stuff from OVW this week. We'll get into all of the action from that, of course, as we do every week for the past 101 episodes.
That's right. 101.
101.
Yeah.
Yes, 101.
But as far as Overdrive goes,
if we got to do 100 episodes, where I need to learn right now on 101 not to add an and. Yes, I need to. That's a habit that I need to address right now.
Spoiler alert, I am always going to add the and, because it's 49 years and I'm not changing now.
Well, how long did we say 2000 and before it just became, 2020, whatever?
It's still 2000 and at my house.
I tried really hard not to do that that's like it is a thing that that gets on my nerves about the way that I speak, because I know it's incorrect. And it's like not one of those things where you can kind of fudge it. It's just incorrect. You know, like, and if you guys have been listening for the past 101 episodes, you know that I like to fudge a lot of stuff. So
this will be the century of pedancy. It's not and. I don't want to give away the ending, but I do want to make clear from Overdrive last night that we had heard that Huda Peso had been injured. Some concern. Looks like it was just a minor thing because he was performing on Overdrive last night.
He was injured. I talked to people on Thursday who said, yes, he had sustained an injury. But that's what I wanted to tell you about, because I watched this live. It was impressive.
It really was.
Yeah.
I watched it last night, and it was too.
And him and our dear friend
Maximo
Suave,
who sends his regards, by the way. I
They-
spoke to him and Maria and thanked them for the video for the 100th episode, which aired right before the 101st episode.
yeah, that was very nice of them. But they picked up the victory. Los Desafíos
Yes,
picked
they
up
sure
the
did.
victory on
the trifecta.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
So, the tag team picture is getting interesting and gets more interesting after tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, if this were an old stand-up arcade game, NBA Jam, it's heating up.
That's very true.
Do love NBA Jam. It's so like that's a thing that like from pop culture that wormed its way in. Like people just say that. I don't think people have any understanding that it's from that video game.
Unless you grew up when that video game came out.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless you just happen to have played it. But
Yeah.
like there's a whole generation of kids that I would say Trey would say that he's been on fire during certain things. Has he ever played NBA Jam?
No.
See, exactly. It's crazy.
Not to my knowledge, anyway.
I think that was just the nomenclature of whatever NBA commentator it was who was, because it was an actual like current NBA
Right,
commentator in the mid '90s that did all the voice work.
It wasn't
for
Marv
NBA
Albert.
Jam.
It was somebody else.
Yeah, I thought it was maybe Marv, but you're right. I don't think it was.
No, I mean it's just funny where things come from sometimes and how they.
No, that game was a big deal
permeate.
when it came out. I think it was right towards the end of my senior year, and I may or may not have skipped school with my friends to play that. Unofficially
That's
speaking.
That's solid.
Yeah.
Well, if I was still in school and I was choosing to skip school, I'd probably skip school to go see some of the OVW superstars around the state of Kentucky and other places. Brian Hines, where can we find our favorite wrestlers this summer?
You can find them every Thursday night at OVW Rise. That's 4400 Shepherdsville Road. Doors open at 6:15. You can catch the Overdrive matches at 6:30 and OVW Rise from 7 to 9. We've got the Rumble at the Raceway series at Ponderosa Speedway in Junction City, Kentucky, June 21st, which is coming up very quickly, and July 19th, OVW Hard Reset, which is coming up even quicker than that at June 14th.
Boy, is it ever.
Yep. Free all-age show at Element Eatery, Cincinnati, Ohio on June 28th. Our favorite shows of the year occur at the Manchester Music Hall, and the next show, you can catch them there, is July 5th. The following weekend, July 12th, you can catch them at Courtesy Acura here in Lexington. And finally, OVW Independence Rage at Hot Point Davis Arena on July 26th. You can get tickets for any and all of these events at OVWTIX.com.
And we will be back right after this.
Now back to the OVW podcast.
All right, so let's get into it, Brian Hines. Let's get into the action from this past week's episode of Ohio Valley Wrestling. Let's start at the top, as we always do. We got a non-title match between the OVW Women's Champion, Sophia Rose, and Rachel Lay.
As somebody who was there in person, I was really impressed with Rachel Lay this week.
I think that she's been definitely understands the implications of being new in that division and how established that division is, and knows that she has to go out there and, steal the show, for lack of a better word.
Yes.
Every performance that she has.
She looked great in the ring in person, and it wasn't a very long match.
No.
But the new gear popped.
Yes.
Especially under the lights.
She had the cotton candy gear previously, right?
Something like
the pink
that.
and
It
the
was
blue.
like pastel. It was like living in this room, pretty much.
That's a weird place to live.
Yeah, it is. But, thank you for making me paint it those colors. I appreciate it. She looked great. You could definitely see the gymnastic background on her behalf.
We have a video of some of that if you'd like to take a
Ooh,
look.
I would like to see the video that you have.
On the point of the gymnastics background, I made this point last week about Sophia Rose's ability to kind of borrow from whoever she's like sharing a tag team, corner with.
Right.
Not only is that kind of a very applicable skill of Sophia Rose's, but through this match, she knows coming in, Rachel Leigh is known for gymnastics. Rachel Leigh has no problem showing off her gymnastic skills. There were several times in here where Sophia was just kind of like, I can kind of do that too.
Watch her do this. Watch her jump out of the way. Like, nope. Too much time.
They went back and forth with the gymnastics like Inigo Montoya and the Man in Black.
I saw that movie for the first time recently. It was fantastic.
What?
Yeah.
Just the first time?
I had never wanted to ever see it, happened to see it. I was tremendously blown away by not only like the movie, but the filmmaking.
It was an outstanding movie.
Yeah.
It is probably my favorite. If it's on TV, I will watch it every single time.
Yeah, Princess Bride is crazy good.
The fact that they were so evenly matched in that particular area, I mean, they even stopped a couple of times, and both were like, ha ha, touche.
Yep. Yeah, but Sophia's ability, I guess, in my mind at least, Sophia's ability to borrow from whoever she's sharing a ring with, whether it be a tag team partner or an adversary, is very fascinating, and that kind of means that her potential or like her character can undergo small subtle transformations week to week, right?
Yeah, she can mimic her partner or opponent,
and that's hard to do, and it's hard to do organically, and it's hard to do genuinely.
But she makes it look effortless.
Sophia Rose, that is the talent of Sophia Rose.
And that's
right?
why she's the champion.
Let's go ahead and see the finish to this match, please.
Alrighty.
Dragging Rachel Leigh up and over.
She was fired up at this point in the match.
And then the moonsault. Fantastic moonsault.
She didn't
from
hesitate.
Sophia
She didn't
Rose.
play to the crowd. She, put Rachel Leigh in position, got straight up there, got to work, got the three, got on the road.
Fantastic stuff from Sophia Rose.
It really was.
A lot of screen time for Sophia Rose tonight, too.
Yes.
A lot of screen time for Sophia Rose.
Probably
tonight.
more than anybody else.
Let's go ahead and talk about what we see up next, which is, kind of the formation of something I think that we had scoped out. It had been heavily alluded to. It wasn't like when you figured out that Crixus was in the Revolution. That was actual journalism. This is just us, reading the tea leaves. Lawless and Lawrence kind of decide that they're gonna go for the tag team thing.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, we
Makes a
kind
lot
of
of
saw
sense.
this coming.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Did they settle on a name? Because
No.
I'm still going with Lush and Lawless. Or maybe Lawless and Lush, because that's kind of like Starsky and Hutch.
So Linda perhaps came up with the worst possible thing.
No, Linda's. This is something that she's been doing a lot recently, where she's actually sneaky funny, but her character is just like
Saying it,
oblivious,
yeah.
right?
She called it lawless cream. Would you like some lawless cream?
No,
No?
Chris
Me
might.
either.
Chris might.
Chris would. He will say no if you ask him, but secretly he would.
So I mean, if
Would that be part of the cheese family?
I would imagine.
Okay.
it's dairy, kind
that,
of.
That works. What are the cheesemakers?
Honestly, my experience with cans of whipped cream is much different than and it really didn't concern eating the whipped cream at all. But that's a different story for a different day. Here's kind of, if we're reading tea leaves, here's kind of what I hesitate to say, but I think we're getting closer and closer to is like Omar might be out for a while.
Yeah, it would appear that could be the case.
If
That's speculation.
if Lawless Cream ends up, being a long-term thing, Omar's a great singles champion.
Absolutely.
Omar's a great singles guy, but I do think that the run that Beaches and Cream was on did get cut short by his injury. Obviously, be interesting to see where he fits back in, where, what he does when he comes back. But just reading the tea leaves a little bit, it could mean that we don't see him for a while if this is a long-term project, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about bout 2 of the evening. This is Parker Lee and Donovan Cecil.
This was probably the most dramatic difference between watching it live versus watching the finished product as part of OVW Rise this week.
What made you say that?
We hadn't gotten a chance to really see Parker Lee, had we? Maybe once a while ago.
I think we had been promised him a couple of times, but we hadn't seen him.
He had been slated for a match within the last few weeks, and that match got scrapped. So off the top of my head, this is the first time I remember seeing him, or at the very least, much less live. We talked about this earlier, and when I was there, I wouldn't say... I would say that this match was sort of a struggle. And, I mean, there were a couple things that didn't quite go like they were probably planned. But seeing it in person was a different experience in that sense. So when you go back and watch this video live, it's very well put together. The commentary describes the in-ring action seamlessly. But being there were a couple of moments that were just like, ooh, that probably wasn't supposed to go that way. But like you said, it made it seem more like an actual fight.
Yeah. So
as opposed to like a slick and polished wrestling match.
That's kind of what I would like to say here before we deep dive into this match is like, yeah, this match on TV was a little messy. It was a little messy. There was a couple moments on TV that were kind of like, oh gosh, when Donovan tries to throw Parker over the rope, and he kind of gets tangled up in the rope.
That was
or
the
maybe,
most notable.
Or maybe he was trying to throw him into the rope and he still got tangled up. But it looked rough either way, right? I think that, in all honesty, and this isn't spin, I think that how kind of messy this match was added a lot to it.
I completely agree.
Like, in recent memory, something like Charlotte Flair, Tiffany Stratton at WrestleMania, not a pretty match, not a technical, 5-star classic, blah, 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 blah. It was the best match all weekend because it was messy. It was the best match all weekend because it looked like a real fight. It was the best match all weekend because it wasn't slick and polished. This is my favorite match of the evening, most likely, and it's because it reminds me it's because Donovan looks like he's one of the 4 pillars of All Japan Pro Wrestling in 1994 in this match. Honestly, that's what he's working. That's what he's doing. It's physical. It's messy. It hurts to watch. It's emotional. Donovan Cecil, this is the best version of him right now.
Yet,
yes. And I in all honesty, I do think that the messiness of this match added a ton to it. And both of these guys should be very, very happy with what they did this evening.
it was entertaining live. It was entertaining watching it on video, but for 2 entirely different reasons. And the reason being for watching it streaming or on YouTube or wherever you watch your OVW wrestling, he was a tour de force. I mean, if I could sum this up in one word, I would have to say clinic, because just so over the top, so overpowerful. And watching it live, the struggle was more of the focus for me. The things that weren't so slick and polished. But going back and watching this episode, my God, man! I mean, we were impressed from jump. The
With
first
Donovan.
time we saw him, almost 2 years ago in August of 2023. That guy's nothing compared to the guy that we see week after week now.
No, he's not even the same guy that was tag team champions with TW3.
No, and that was just a little over a year ago.
Yeah, it wasn't long ago. Feels like much longer than it has been, but it really was not that long ago. Yeah, I want Donovan to just watch Misawa matches and just do Misawa from now on. That would be so sick, dude.
By the way, Mama Mammoth sends her regards.
Oh, fantastic.
And I got a really nice hug, and that made me happy. So thank you, Mama Mammoth. I appreciate that. I needed one that day.
Let's see some clips.
All right, let's start with one that I have labeled Donovan will just jump over you.
Well, he sure did.
I also think Parker Lee, for what it's worth, we just, waxed poetically about Donovan, as we should. Not just jump over you, drop kick you as well.
Yeah.
Parker Lee's got a great presentation.
Yeah, I loved this guy. Was the perfect kind of guy to do this with Donovan.
100%.
And
I totally agree.
was such a good worker in this moment.
Parker should be, I always want people to get bookings, always want people to be able to hit the pay window. Parker should be happy that this was his coming out party on Rise.
He lived up to the expectations.
I just think that based on who we see week in and week out on TV, there was just no one else that would have given him this kind of match. Donovan's the perfect opponent for Parker Lee specifically. Not a newcomer, not any newcomer, but after seeing Parker Lee wrestle, he's the perfect for Parker Lee specifically.
Oh, yeah. I feel like Parker Lee is a perfect fit for OVW, and I think that Donovan Cecil was the perfect opponent for his OVW debut, or for the Rise debut anyway.
Let's see our next clip, please.
I think this is the one you were talking about you'll see.
Yeah. No, there's no way you couldn't have clipped this. Donovan telling the crowd, getting the crowd hyped up. He's going to the third rope. Big insecurity from Parker Lee there.
But notice he never leaves his feet.
Nope.
No, too strong. Presentation's too good for that right now. Parker Lee
gets caught
up
in midair.
I'll take you. It's fine.
And
up on the
thrown
shoulder.
back into the ring.
Oh, no, up over his head, yeah. Then we do this.
while walking.
Yeah.
While walking.
Yeah.
Making it look effortless, climbing the ring ladder.
Oh, attempts to throw him back into the ring, or just attempts to hang him out to dry on the top rope.
That felt exactly like what he wanted to have happen to me.
Well,
I
if
mean,
that's what
y'all
he
are
wanted
the
to have-
experts.
If
but
that's what he wanted to have happen, then he did it just about as good as anybody could do it.
Back to the point of previously made. That's why the messy works, is because it looks intentional. It looks like a fight. A fight where, of course, people are doing like flips over things and stuff. But like, it's still, that messiness is such, it can be such a lost quality in wrestling, because, people went through, and I'm guilty of this myself, like the work rate era where everything just like has to look perfect, like, and everything, we have to move a million miles a minute and do double, moonsaults or whatever the hell, right? Like, I'm a victim of that too. But the older I get and the more the wrestling that I'm attracted to more, it has that impending sense of struggle. And that's a hard thing to grasp in a wrestling match. And Donovan Cecil, Parker Lee, the pair of them
Nailed it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go ahead and see our next clip. Parker Lee doesn't give up. Donovan sends him over. Another big kick, another big insecurity from Parker Lee. Got a
roll through the ropes.
Yep.
A code breaker still doesn't hit the mat.
Nope.
Roll through code breaker. That's a big move. Parker Lee, obviously a Jericho guy, between the code breaker and a lion salt.
Just boom.
Yeah, big slam. That's it.
I go to the mat when I pin you. That is the only way.
And another thing about Donovan's kind of, I think I said this last week, I would call it arrogant. If other people did it, it's just cool and badass when he does it. His new pin with the tusks down, where he kind of looks like he's in the 3-point position.
Mm-hmm.
They don't do false pins on that. Whenever you see that, whenever he does that, people aren't kicking out of that. That's very important.
He was stomping through the ring before the match started, like on all fours, just with his fists stomping like that, which is something I don't really remember him doing. But it made the whole thing a bit more menacing. It kind of set the tone for how the match was going to go.
And of course, after the match, after Donovan takes home the victory over Parker Lee, doesn't get to celebrate for too awful long, because Jack Vaughn has a video message for him.
Yeah.
I'm going to actually try to make the sound work on this. We shall see.
Didn't it work last week?
Yeah, it did, but I have no idea.
We should clip that pause of Jack Vaughn looking like that.
Oh, there we go.
His eyes are so big.
Otherwise, you will forever be known as the coward that I know you are. You want to prove you belong at the top of the mountain? Then I suggest that you show up and push me off. Haven't answered my.
So, y'all want to hear it again, or?
No, we're getting they're gonna have some sort of competition. I think it's been left vague because I think people are gonna want to obviously see it be a traditional strongman competition, because there's no way Jack's gonna beat Donovan in that.
Do you think it's going to be a strongman competition?
The longer it goes on, the less I do.
Do you
I
think
think
it's going to be
gonna-
another dance-off?
I think it's going to be another dance-off.
I think this version of Jack Vaughn has moved a little bit away from.
I feel like
from
it's
that
going to be
type of
more
thing.
sinister.
I think it's going to be.
I don't
yeah.
know.
I don't have a great guess. But I think that's why it's been kept so vague up until this point, is because they're trying to plant the seed that it's going to be a strongman competition, because we all want to see Donovan beat Jack, but Jack. You know what I mean? Like, does
Yeah.
that make sense? Am I getting anywhere with that? Does that make sense?
No, I hear what you're saying. Maybe it'll be, you know how they have the stones that are progressively heavier?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it'll be like giant wheels of cheese. Like this one is like, 150 pounds. This one's 250. This one's
Maybe it's that
350.
challenge that they do in Ireland where they roll that cheese down that hill,
I bet that's it.
and all those people break
Yeah,
their bones
they
chase after
They
it.
chase
chase the
that wheel of cheese.
Yeah.
I think that's. I would like to see that. Who you got in the wheel of cheese down the hill competition?
Donovan all the way.
Donovan, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's moving in with more of the necessary skills to fall down the hill and still catch some cheese. You
Mhm.
know,
Which also happened in The Princess Bride, by the way.
did it? I must have missed that part.
It was
Yeah,
early on.
Of course it did.
There wasn't cheese involved. They
No,
just fell down a hill.
I remember
Yeah.
them falling down the hill. I was like, was it really about the cheese?
It wasn't about the cheese.
Okay, yeah, no, I remember
At
them
least in The
falling down
Princess
the
Bride,
hill.
anyway.
Remember them falling down that hill.
Yeah.
Up next, we got a tag team match with our newly formed tag team of Jake Lawless and Luscious Lawrence versus the Initiative, Jason Genesis and Trace Lee Hunt. I don't like saying those three words next to each other. It may,
Oh, I don't like any of that.
Trace Lee Hunt sounds like a character from Sons of Anarchy.
I was going to say serial killer from the South.
That's also not bad.
That's also possible.
It's also, or just like your cool uncle,
That-
also from the South.
They
Yeah.
look like someone fused Kurt Angle with the Steiner brothers, is what they look like to me.
Hey, it's talking my language now. That'd be great. That's
Very-
definitely my CAW. If I'm on like 2K, that's definitely my creator wrestler.
Very American themed with the ring gear. It was like the All American Rejects.
Yeah, and like a little Stone Cold in there.
A little bit.
You know, like
But also kind of outlawy.
yeah, outlaw.
Yeah,
Stone
it's like
Cold-y.
they kind of blended 4 or 5 ideas together to see, which one kind of stuck, and then I guess maybe we'll see more of that.
Apparently, this
Next
is a
time.
fully developed gimmick because Josh was saying these guys are kind of known around the indies.
Yeah,
Wow,
no,
okay.
So
I think it's very obvious that these guys have worked together a lot and have traveled and you're being brought into OVW maybe to have a more permanent spot on that roster, especially whenever we are at a deficit for tag teams right now.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I kind of, based on the word on the street, I feel like the tag division might be heating up some, but what do I know?
Well, I mean, they have to start bringing people in for it to heat up. They got to, as we push teams like Los Desafios up higher, we have to have teams for them to lose to or to
Well,
win against.
Yeah.
So we got to bring in people. Jason Genesis, though, that's kind of a cool name. That's better than Tracy Hunt. Let's see our first clip.
let's do.
Lawless is in the corner, tags Luscious. Luscious
Solid.
hits him with the butt.
Solid teamwork from Lawless and Lush.
Yeah, they were great. They were fun to watch
The
together.
posterior offense,
Now watch. They
typical.
tag back.
quick tags, keeping their opponent in the corner.
And I think we know where this is going.
Yep. Referee's going to get distracted by Luscious Lawrence's hair and how cool he is, and then blam.
And Jake Lawless with the big time celebration,
Mm-hmm.
losing his mind after foreheading another guy's junk.
Yeah.
They
Genesis
both got
not,
to do their cool thing.
Genesis
no.
not so much on the celebrating after that.
No, I mean I wouldn't.
No.
Let's go ahead and
Gotta
see
go
our,
get some ice for them marbles.
let's go ahead and see our next clip. We got Trace Lee Hunt giving the boots to Luscious Lawrence straight in the middle of the ring. He tags Jason Genesis. I mean, look at these guys. Like they look like a tag team. They look very good. I like them. I like them as a prospect.
They do work well as a tag team,
I li-
but I mean, as far as the OVW fans are concerned, Lawless and Lush.
Those are two cornerstones.
Yeah. I need Trace to put on some headgear. That's all I'm saying. I need him to wear whatever that with the one Steiner he's the bald one, by the way. Trace is bald,
Yeah.
It says
and I
so in
need
our
him to
notes.
put on some I need him to put on some headgear. That's all I'm saying.
No, they got a guy that does that. They got a bald guy that does the headgear thing at one of the big places. So I think that he wouldn't. I think at this point it would be less. People would not recognize it as much of a Steiner thing. Is what I'm trying to say.
Well, I mean, we do have
It
a dude
depends on
with.
how old you are.
That is true. I would recognize it.
I'm old. I would recognize it. So
I don't know.
it's a generational thing.
Things change. There's only like 3 gimmicks, and one of them is headgear. So can we go ahead and see our last little clip here? I don't think it's a surprise that Jake Lawless and Luscious Lawrence take home the victory here. Got 2 newcomers in the form of the Initiative. So
was this their initiation then?
I think so.
I think
so.
you're probably right.
They both got hit in the junk.
Uh-huh.
That's as good as it can go, I guess, in a wrestling match. If it's your first wrestling match, it's a lot better than some other initiations in wrestling, I think. So,
yeah, I would imagine so.
At least there was no airplane involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a deduction.
Wow, look at you guys. Now we're both into it.
I don't know.
Yeah, we're going to have to formally establish the point system and how that works. I'll get with my Finnish counterparts, and I'll have my people call your people.
I've lost my fins. Damn it.
That's okay. I've got plenty.
So
You stole my fins.
after Lawless Cream takes the victory, Super Z is in the ring. I want to say this. There's 2 big promos during the course of this show. Both of them were well needed. I didn't realize how much Super Z needed a big platform promo like this, and I didn't realize how much it was time for lovely Miss Larkin to also have the same in the second hour.
Baby.
This was the best promo Zach, the wrestler behind the many characters, has ever done. I love Zachary D. Pittman III, the journalist. I think the character work is great. I think it's really funny. I think he does a great job at that. This was the first time, though, that I viewed Super Z as the character for me. And it's just, I know he's done commentary, but I think it's taken way too long for him to have a microphone in the middle of the ring and have this kind of promo.
This was the best promo, the best Super Z moment I believe we've seen so far.
I would tend to agree with you. Definitely the best out of action moment.
Yeah.
But high up on his, this is a high up moment for him on his run as Super Z so far. It really, really is. This was
there was a lot of emotion,
promo.
a lot of backstory, and you could tell that Super Z was upset because they used to be friends, and sometimes that happens in life, and you guys go your separate ways, and even though you aren't on great terms anymore. You still, you're still kind of hurt by the fact that you were close with somebody and now you're not. And that I kind of felt that in the middle of this promo.
So we get to the point where Star Rider and the Goon Squad, they were backstage gooning, and then they came out. We got the Gooners showed up, and they
Stop saying that.
It's the Legion of Goons.
They tried to.
God, now I can't even remember the real name.
The Gooners.
Doom Squad.
The Gooners.
No, yeah, Doom Squad. You're completely, yeah.
They were gooning.
Yes. Sure.
I really was gonna keep saying it until Malachi said stop. I knew he might be the only person in here who actually knew why I was using that word so often. So, they come out.
You lose points.
They try. Go ahead, take a few points away.
I'm not really going to deduct points.
Thank you. They try to beat up Super Z. We get to a point where we almost find out what the stipulation is going to be.
Yeah, almost. We get tantalizingly close to figuring out what kind of match we're going to see between Super Z and Star Rider at Hard Reset. But unfortunately, no, the Legion of Goons comes in, busts up the party as they often do.
Oh, they were busting. They were gooning and busting. That is for sure. that is
wow, that is a death stare. I don't understand a word you just said.
That is
You're better off.
That is PG-13.
Let's not put a red flag on it. Let's just move on.
That is so PG-13, dude. I didn't say anything wrong. Now Malachi's just kicking me out.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We have a show to finish.
Where's your head at as far as the stipulation goes?
I mean, knowing the two of those guys, I mean, we already have a ladder match, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably not going to be a ladder match. Who's setting the stipulation?
Looked like Z was. He was
I
about
think
to
so.
announce
I
it.
think Z.
Man, I don't know. I mean, pie in the sky hopes. I would love it if it was a scaffold match, but I don't.
Me too.
I don't see that.
I just think it'd be
happening.
cool to see live, but I think that the likelihood of that drastically goes down
I think it's tables, ladders, and chairs.
whenever it's not Star Rider setting the stip.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's gonna be brutal, whatever it is. And here's the on the outside chance that it's like a street fight. It cannot go down like the Cal Hero Tony Gunn street fight. Like, we gotta be able to see this thing.
Yeah. Well, there's that.
You know what I mean? So I think
OVW rarely makes the same mistake twice.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But there's a lot riding on this. This is turned into one of the big happenings at the pay-per-view. Not only the stipulation match between Star Rider and Super Z, but also the scramble match that is going to crown a new Rush Division champion as Fallout from Star Rider. Right.
I think that might be the one I'm looking forward to the most.
So we have two big moments out of this story now at the pay-per-view, and I just think that the stipulation, whatever it is, it's gotta go off without a hitch, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's gotta go off without a hitch. Let's talk about our hour one.
Wait. Before we go to the main event, we
Yeah,
can't
go
just
ahead.
gloss over Anthony Toatelli backstage talking smack to the trifecta.
Oh yeah, that actually was. Speaking of like people who I would like to see have more microphone time, Anthony Toatelli backstage.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
that clip actually. We can hear.
Yeah,
we
let's go
should be
ahead.
able to hear that.
Go ahead.
Oh, fantastic.
If I can.
Someone like you're just a decorative prop.
I'm a decorative prop.
That's cute, Katina. I was giving you benefit of the doubt. You are talented. You're also a liability to your group. Me, I'm a guarantee, just like I'm guaranteeing this match.
I love how he just puts him in his place and just walks off.
He's obviously the alpha Anthony.
It's the hat.
Yeah. Anthony Katina's face in that hat, very punchable.
We also
very
have a little bit
punchable.
of Super Z in the ring if you want to see him doing a little bit of this.
Yeah,
Let's hear
sure,
from
sure.
Z.
Turn it up and make it play.
Evil plan was foiled. And on June 14th, at Hard Reset, you pay for your crimes against me. And this can only be settled in one kind of match. In that match, your evil.
So yeah, they cut it off.
Pay for that match.
I think it's Chain Carnage. I don't like that it's Chain Carnage, but I think that's what it's going to end up being.
Well, let's say this. Let me put. I know why you don't like Chain Carnage. We have bad experience.
Mm-hmm.
These are not. This is not EC3 and PEX. These are two vastly different wrestlers than EC3 and Pectacular.
It's going to have to be something that lends itself to a fast-paced match because we've seen both of these guys for going on 2 years now. Neither one of them likes to slow it down and have a methodical match. It's going to have to be something that lends itself.
Both are
to-
honestly a little reckless at times.
Yeah, reckless, fast-paced, high-flying.
Yeah. The Rush,
Trampoline match. That's it.
The Rush. I've never seen one of those. The Rush Division scramble match is already a ladder match.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of eliminates that. I don't know. I think we're in weird territory. Whatever it's gonna be, it's got to be a big time stipulation to kind of put a bow on Star Rider and Evil Z or Super Z. Now that the championship's not involved between the two of them.
Yeah. This isn't for a championship. This is for blood and honor.
I don't know. I was leaning scaffold, but I just don't think that's what it is. Anyway, let's talk about our main event of hour one here. It's Tony Evans with Drew Hernandez. Big Zoe wearing his graduation gown.
Carrying the tube with his
That
doctorate
was
in
a
it.
beautiful sight.
That was cool, man.
The
That was cool.
whole OVW audience absolutely loved that. Everybody was so proud of him. Everybody stood up and cheered. And rightly so, because you deserve it.
It was cool, man. That was cool. I love that.
He has a book. Buy his book.
I don't know if
What's it called? And you know what it's called? That's you're usually good at stuff like that.
You asked me too fast. I can look it up though. But if my son happens to be listening, I would just like to say that Father's Day is June 15th, and if you haven't gotten me
I need to
a
write
gift
that down.
yet, that would be a wonderful Father's Day gift.
Big Zoe's book.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll look.
Or since it's National Cheese Day, I would also accept cheese.
You would always accept cheese.
Okay, that's fair.
It just occurred to me that somebody's gonna end up googling gooning.
Oh,
We also have Anthony Toatelli and Anthony Katina in this match. Anthony Toatelli just had a match a couple weeks ago against Dustin Jackson. It was the last time I went.
Yes.
For the championship. So we're looking down the line here. After Tony Evans kind of gets eliminated from the match by Jay De Niro, by, not exactly eliminated, but basically
Chased him off.
for all intents and purposes,
right
eliminated.
off the bat.
We're looking at Katina, Big Zoe, and Toatelli. That's the moment that I knew. I was like, Anthony Katina is going to win this match, and we've got a new champion at the pay-per-view. Trifecta are going to all three have belts by the end of this month.
This match was a mess. And when I say that, I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean it in the best possible way. It was so fast-paced. All three competitors were not in the ring at the same time. Sometimes it might be Toatelli and Katina. Sometimes it might be Katina and Zoe. Sometimes it might be Zoe and Toatelli, or Zoatelli, I guess. Just back
Missed
and forth the
opportunity.
whole
Missed
entire
opportunity.
time. Yeah, I know. If you do end up using that, I will send you my Venmo if you don't already have it. But yeah, I mean, this was as fast-paced and entertaining a match as I saw all night long.
Yeah,
All the way across. Very, very well matched. Nobody dominated this match.
No, I agree.
it
That's a great insight. That's a great point.
It was. It was just, somebody like Zoe tries to get the pin. He's pulled off by Katina. Katina tries to get the pin. He's pulled off by Zoe, and just going back and forth all the way around.
I wish that that Zoe was winning some of these, man, because honestly, just because I wish that the people at Davis Arena got the that would be cool. That's cooler for them than it is for me personally. He is so adored in there.
He is.
And people I think get legit red hot sometimes whenever he loses matches, and I think it is partly between the I'm a wrestling fan and my favorite guy didn't win, and partly we love this guy so much, why is he not always winning?
I know.
He's very well lauded in that area in Davis Arena.
Let's remember that Davis Arena, it's real to some people in there. We've seen, you'll remember Carson Drake of NWA fame had to be escorted to his car more than once.
Yeah, that's right.
Because there were people waiting, just laying in for him to.
They were going to give him the beatdown on more than one occasion. And I hate that Zoe didn't come out on top here, but you know what? He's winning at life. So good for you,
He
Zoe.
is, man. He's got a lot going on.
Got your shirt on right here in case you're just listening. But if you're watching, you can clearly see that. It is Zoe time.
I bought the last one of his old ones, and I was cooking in it. I think I got some effing grease on it, and now I can't wear it.
Jesus, really?
No,
I wanted that. I was going to buy that, and you snaked it out from under me. So I went with this one. Thanks
got it at a steal, too.
Yeah, I know. As soon as it was like that last one, this is only, however much it was, I was like, oh, sign me up. And then you were like, yoink.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Y'all want to see some clips before it comes to blows over a
Yes.
T-shirt?
Would love to.
Yeah.
Toatelli gets off to kind of a bad start here. But
Not his best foot forward.
smart play to try to get under there and pull him down, but Zoe just
That's
didn't have it.
Katina.
Oh, Katina, yeah.
Love the gear, though.
Katina in his Hulk Hogan gear.
Katina Mania.
It's ironic that he's wearing the Hulk Hogan gear when he's selling like Shawn Michaels from SummerSlam 2005.
No fooling. I noticed that, too. It's like, my God, you're flopping around all over the place like a fish out of water.
You ever seen that match? The Hulk Hogan-Shawn Michaels match?
If I did, it was when it happened and haven't gone back to study it since.
One of the funniest things that's ever happened in the history of wrestling is it was supposed to be a three-person match. They were supposed to go in neutral. And then Hogan made Shawn Michaels go as the heel, and Shawn Michaels basically goes in and says, "Oh well, you're like the almighty powerful Hulk Hogan," and he just oversells for him for 25 minutes, and it is so absolutely hilarious. It's also one of the best Hulk Hogan matches.
Oh wow.
Well, yeah, because dude's overselling for him.
Dude, there's a point where he like takes a chop or some like very rudimentary like hit, maybe a hit to the head or something, and he rolls over backwards 3 times out of the ring. Like it's comical. It's amazing. It's amazing. One of my favorite matches of all time. So let's go ahead and see our second clip, please. Big Zoe.
This was impressive.
Taking advantage of the 2 smaller competitors in the ring here, and
Suplexes both of them.
double suplex.
Yeah, watch Anthony there. Yeah.
No, dude. If Anthony Katina didn't just get done watching Hogan Michaels SummerSlam 2005, then I don't know what he's doing.
He dressed
in
like
that
he did.
match. Yeah, he really did. I think I've got Anthony Katina scouted on this one. Honestly,
hit Zoe. Like he almost hit Zoe. He's reacting so hard. Watch. Let me skip. Boom.
Yep, almost.
It almost turned into a wrestling move.
Yeah, that's really funny. Let's go ahead and see our final clip here. Looks like Big Zoe's about to squeak out the victory, and Anthony Katina
Dirty man.
slips out of it.
Zoe's under the rope. He pulls him back in far enough. Spencer gets into position
And
and
hooks
then,
his legs on the uses the leverage
yeah.
on the rope.
Total douche nozzle move, but what do you expect from the trifecta?
Good stuff there. Good stuff on Daniel Spencer also for saying, can't do it. Move. I know I'm supposed to start counting, but I can't do it right now. Yeah, I think that it's kind of, Katina's winning at the pay-per-view, right? Dustin Jackson's had a great run. No shame in losing to Katina right now. Makes the trifecta the new coolest guys in the room, baddest guys in the room. Revolution is losing power. We're gonna need new heels. This is a tried and true OVW thing. Is just belting up all the heels. The heels.
All the we still have hour 2 to go, and there's a lot of developments as far as that story is concerned that we haven't really addressed yet. So
I think it's Anthony Katina's time, man.
Could very well be because I don't know how well Dustin Jackson is feeling these days after the end of the main event.
That's the other thing too, is they are protecting Dustin Jackson. We'll get into that as we talk about the main event, but they are very clearly setting Dustin Jackson up to be protected and have a protected loss. It's because OVW's smart and good at stuff. Now more recent, like really past handful of weeks, like have been so tightly knit and so tightly woven. It's been very, very impressive.
Much like the episode itself.
Yeah.
I feel like this episode, as opposed to maybe something we saw last week or 2 weeks ago, was so much slicker.
Mm-hmm.
Well put together. The editing, the camera work, the lighting, the commentary, the in-ring action. This might be the biggest total package episode I've seen of OVW up to date.
This was a full package episode, 100%. Let's talk about our Rush Division triple threat match that opens hour 2 here. It's between Chris Exodus, JJ Lawson, and Jake Painter. These 3 guys had a lot of fun.
They did.
And it was very fun to watch.
It was a very fun match to watch.
Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to speak over you.
Oh, no, that's all right. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, big coming out party for JJ Lawson here. This has been clearly kind of the match that JJ Lawson has been wanting to have at his time in OVW, and he left it all out there. Nice to see Chris Exodus back. I think he was a perfect kind of third man in this match.
Was impressed by Chris
he's a
Exodus
very
in this
impressive
match.
wrestler as well, and this is the match that Jake Painter is supposed to win. It has implications at the pay-per-view. I think finally Jake Painter got a decisive win as well. And I think that this was just like really, really, really well booked stuff. Jake Painter looked crazy, crazy strong throughout this match as well.
Yes.
Just pulling out backbreakers out of anywhere.
You want to see one?
It's really impressive to watch him be in a match and then just out of nowhere.
And for what it's worth, Lawson and Exodus kind of knew it from the beginning of the match that Painter was on fire because they team up early on to take Painter out, so that they can kind of have their melee with each other, which is, I mean, very, very. These two guys are all very athletic and very perfect kind of rush division candidates, though.
Yeah.
It was nice to see Jake Painter stick to the ground and stick to being the brutal guy here and letting Exodus and Lawson show off kind of as the more traditional rush division guys.
The high flyers, as it
Mhm.
were. Yeah, show us a clip.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, this is brutal.
just so
Yeah.
much extension. He's so high up in the air.
Yeah, let's watch
Referee
it again.
Alice Lane's face says it all.
That's a very sound backbreaker. Although there are some mornings when I get up out of bed, I kind of feel like I wish somebody would do that to me because
I'd take one right now.
Yeah.
I'd take one right now. Looks amazing. Looks like it would feel so good.
High-speed chiropractic.
Let's go ahead and see our next clip here. I think this was the maybe not the exact moment.
Impressive move by Painter, shoving Lawson into Exodus, and then what exactly would you call that?
That's a double backbreaker, I suppose.
A double backbreaker.
That is
That
that
is
is what
impressive.
Josh called it.
For me, this is the moment where Painter won the match. Like, he just looked undeniable kind of after that maneuver.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and see.
He was really impressive in this match, by the way.
He really was. Let's go ahead and see. Looks like Exodus take Jake Painter down.
Lawson comes in with the flip to
This-
break up the pin, which is also very impressive.
The running moonsault, but he's doing like he's twisting his body in a way too here that is not just the traditional moonsault.
No, it's like a 3/4 diagonal,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah. Can't wait to see more of this kid, JJ Lawson.
Yeah, me too. I got a chance to talk to him after the show, and he was like, "Man, I know you picked me, and I'm sorry. I tried to pull it out. I thought I had it, but I just couldn't do it."
No, he's having a lot
Good
of
kid.
fun. He's having a lot of fun.
Yeah,
And
you can tell.
And you can tell.
see it in his
Yeah.
matches.
Yeah.
You can hear it in his voice when you talk to
Yes,
him after
yes.
the matches. That fella's having the time of his life, and good on you, dude. I appreciate that about you. It makes it more fun for us to watch and more entertaining knowing that you're out there having a good time.
And
So,
and if you stick with that, if we've realized it, we're dense, brother. If we've realized it, everyone else in Davis Arena has realized it as well, and it's going to pay dividends to you in the long run.
when you have that much fun, you will never work a day in your life.
Exclamation pant.
That's what they say.
That's mine.
I know it's yours. I just wanted to say it.
That's
It
a
needed to get said.
deduction.
As far as matches go, though, I think it was Jake Painter's night. I think it was kind of clear that Jake Painter should have won here.
I have a clip that proves it's Jake Painter's night.
Let's see it. JJ Lawson falling
kick
to
to
the
the
Just
head.
moves out of nowhere.
falling to his back. Yeah, kind of out of an instinct type thing. Tries to go for the springboard.
And no.
Yeah, smart ring awareness
Roll
from Jake
through,
Painter here.
Backbreaker.
Not only the roll through, but pushing Exodus off so that
Mhm.
there's less of a chance for him to interfere. The roll through, the backbreaker,
Pedigree set up into the backbreaker again.
crazy stuff, and finds the camera.
Yeah.
You just gotta love it.
Yeah, no, I'm glad. I'm very glad to see this Jake Painter. I like this Jake Painter. I like that he's not wearing that jacket anymore. Let's see. Up next, Cash wants a rematch with Revolver. Adam Revolver, kind of, I think rightfully so, says there's a lot of other people in here. I think
Let's
you should-
see other people cash.
Yeah, I think rightfully so.
Cash was not having it.
And there was an element of that where, like, I think it might have played as Adam Revolver, trying to get out of a match with Cash. For me, I think that's just sound advice from a veteran. You're new here, maybe you try some other things
Pick
out.
somebody else.
That doesn't sit well with Cash,
No, he was not having it.
and they get their match right.
Yes.
Let's go ahead.
Yeah, they get their match.
They get their match later in the evening.
They do.
I read some comments on the OVW YouTube page about that match. Maybe we'll go over them whenever People have some weird, silly opinions on wrestling. Up next, including me. I just want to put that out there. Up next, we start with in-ring, lovely Miss Larkin, microphone. Like I said about the Super Z thing, this was necessary. This needed to happen. We've seen a lot of Larkin backstage. We have not really gotten the Larkin experience, microphone, single person in the ring, live mic experience with Larkin yet, right? Did it disappoint, Brian Hines?
It 1,000% did not. It was everything I hoped it would be and more.
I think she knew with this kind of set piece promo here that there was no room for error. And in fact, I might just have to be the absolute craziest version of lovely Miss Larkin or the therapist or like whatever
or both
I
at
am
once.
that night or both at once. I would be very curious to know lovely Miss Larkin's, if she was a member of her high school drama club. Like, this just has, and I mean this, like, this sounds like an insult, and it's not. This has, like, just such big, over-the-top melodramaticism, high school drama club, like, acting to it. And that works super well in wrestling. In wrestling, that actually makes you, like, the best actor there, right? I love lovely Miss Larkin here. I love the promo time. I think it was the right choice. I think that Josh Ashcraft has a great call later in the evening where he says some people call it passionate and some people call it backcrap crazy.
Yeah, I do remember that.
I think that I think this was a great segment. And
Can we talk a little bit about Sophia in the supporting role as well?
Yeah,
actually came out and just kind of is just going along with it.
There was a little bit of like, girl, what are you doing? Girl,
she's there for
girl, we
support.
need to go. Like
hand waving, yeah. It's like,
yeah. Larkin's had a little bit much. We need to get her out of here. There was definitely a little bit of like that energy from Sophia, but she gives her sound advice, much like Adam Revolver gave to Cash Daniel. Gives her some sound advice. Focus on your match. Focus on Freya, right?
Yeah, that's right up there with you telling people to follow their heart.
Follow your heart, man.
Yeah.
Follow your heart. I'm a big believer in that. Sophia, again, playing off of Larkin here, this version of Larkin, the crazy, all out on the floor crazy Larkin. This was very, very, very funny, good stuff from them. Didn't stay funny all night, though, for lovely Miss Larkin.
It certainly did not, unfortunately for her, because Freya the Slay had other plans. But you have to appreciate the initiative that lovely Miss Larkin took. Freya wasn't even at the ring. She comes flying out of the ring on top of Freya, attacks her before she even gets anywhere near the stairs, and then pulls a hockey move and takes her coat, her long white fur coat, and pulls it over her head in order to gain an advantage before the bell even rings. I love that fight. I love that enthusiasm. I love that will to win from lovely Miss Larkin, because Freya is at the top of the food chain of the women's division. She may not have the gold right now, but that doesn't mean that she couldn't take it from you in 3 seconds or less.
And prior to all the events that you just described, just that brief interaction, that brief stare down between Freya and Sophia as Sophia is leaving. Yeah, making this match very obviously about Freya and Larkin, but reminding you that Larkin and Sophia have a relationship, reminding you that Freya and Sophia have a relationship. Just layers of like very, very, very good, concise
That's a good
stuff.
point.
A lot of bows being tied off here, right? I love to see it, especially on the precipice of a pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go ahead and see our first clip. Freya, head full of steam. Larkin.
She means business.
Honestly, it looks like for a moment as if she's begging off. And Freya, tidying her hands after taking out the trash, hits the ropes. Larkin's a little too quick for Freya's leg drop. Larkin kicks Freya straight in the throat. That looked like it hurt.
I'm sure it did.
I think she got every bit of that. So anytime we're talking about Larkin, and especially Larkin and Freya, we were talking about the invisible knife, right? Sophia Rose replaced the invisible knife last
With
week.
a new, more beautifuler invisible knife with an inscription and everything in cursive.
The invisible knife, of course, rears its head again this week. Let's see that clip. And people, the crowd was like strangely divided here, right?
No.
I thought so.
Not especially. I mean, people were expecting to see the invisible knife.
I just mean between the two of them, between crowd support. Crowd support.
Between Freya and Larkin, yeah. I mean, Freya, very strong competitor, fan favorite in OVW, whether she's, a heel or a face, as it were. Same with the support of lovely Miss Larkin, but people wanted to see that knife. They were going to be disappointed if they didn't see her.
Big reaction for the knife. Big reaction for the knife in the clip that we just saw. Let's go ahead and see our last clip here, because I actually did think that this was some pretty
that was
fun
shocking
booking. I really thought this, and it's one of these moments that can only exist in wrestling because it is, predetermined, and we are having a predetermined fight over a invisible knife that a multiple personality person thinks exists, right? But then when Freya stabs her with the knife, it, like, people in the crowd, like, you could hear it on the TV.
There was an audible gasp.
You could hear it on the TV, and it translates too. It translates even as I'm watching it right here.
Yeah.
Like, this should not have worked. This should not have worked for all of the reasons that I just named.
1,000%
But
But it did.
Watch the little toss-up. This,
Yeah.
floop, catch,
That's a nice touch.
pow.
It very much adds insult to injury, because I figured she would just throw it into the crowd, in which case I was all ready to start the chant, throw it back. That didn't happen. But, I mean, as far as a heel move goes, stabbing your opponent with their own invisible knife, I mean, I felt that.
No,
in my head, it's like, oh my God.
I am being so
She's
serious.
invisibly hemorrhaging as we speak.
This should not have worked. It worked because Freya's being a smart heel. She knew how to take Larkin out immediately.
Mind games.
Immediately.
Psychologically speaking, yes.
And it worked because of how hurt Larkin was by being stabbed. The knife should not work, and it works. The knife should not work, and it works. And it should not have worked here, and it works so well, and I cannot wrap my head around it. It's a testament to these two women. It's a testament to these two women. It's a testament to how good OVW is right now. It's a rising tide raises all ships situation. If every match on the card is good, every promo on the card is good, then everyone is going to be better just inherently. Energy carries over in the crowd. Energy carries over in the ring.
This was my favorite match of the week, by far. And whenever I go to Davis Arena, I always take one picture and post it as my view from the office. My view from the office was this match. I absolutely love it. And as a matter of fact, this whole thing got so heated that Freya the Slaya and lovely Miss Larkin were going back and forth in the comments of this picture until like 1 a.m. And I had to tell these ladies, please, I try not to take my work home with me. It's after 1 o'clock. It's a school night. Let's settle this in the ring next week on OVW Rise. You can look it up on Facebook.
I think that's the only way to. I think we're probably going to see more Freya and Sophia. I don't know, though. After this match, Larkin and Freya might have more legs to it.
Larkin's out for blood, if I had to guess, and rightly so, because she bled out on the mat. 1, 2, 3.
All right,
Invisibly red.
we got 2 more matches here. The next one is pretty quick between Adam Revolver and Cash Daniel. I saw a lot of comments on the OVW YouTube page this past week that were like, well, there's how to kill a wrestling career before it even starts. Adam Revolver is one of the most awarded champions in the history of the whole damn company. Cash Daniel been on TV, for 6 weeks.
He's a human thumb, for crying out loud.
Cash Daniel been on TV for 6 weeks. He had 3 wrestling matches. How in the world is losing to Adam Revolver taking any momentum away from Cash Daniel right now? How in the world? Somebody explain that to me.
If anything, it's starting a rivalry.
Exactly.
You got to start somewhere.
Exactly. How in the world is losing to a Triple Crown champion, a dude who's won every damn championship in the company? How in the world is losing to him when you've had 3 effing matches a bad thing? How is that ruining a career before a career is even started? I'm, as a idiot on the internet that talks about wrestling, I am tired of these idiots on the internet talking about wrestling. Okay? Tired of it. Tired of it.
How about we see a little wrestling?
Yeah, let's see.
This is a clip I literally just called wrestling.
A love and a passion we all share.
Yeah. There it goes.
No, and I mean, we know Cash Daniel, and we know all of his upsides, all the advantages that he has.
He's an impressive specimen, for sure.
I mean, golly.
But his skill set is no match for Adam Revolver. That guy knows every dirty, slimy trick in the book, whether he chooses to use them or not. But he knows every reversal. He knows every submission hold. He knows all the things because he's been around, and that's what happens with experience.
He's wrestled them big. He's wrestled them small. He's wrestled them medium size.
He's wrestled them ladies.
He's wrestled women. Yeah, Adam Revolver has been around tag team, singles, whatever. And here's the thing. Back to kind of our previous point with Donovan. You can talk about somebody that makes it look like a struggle. Cash Daniel makes it look like a struggle.
Maybe it is.
Like Cash Daniel, whenever he's getting a slight advantage over Adam, he's got a smile cracking across his face. Whenever Adam's, kind of giving him the business, he looks as if he's like. I mean, Cash Daniel's very good at this. He's just doesn't have the skill set of some of these other guys right now, but he has so much intangible quality that it's impossible not to put him on TV. Honestly.
Yeah, and one of these days he will be up there with everybody else. But this ain't his night.
No.
No.
In my opinion, I feel like Adam Revolver was surprised when he won the first time. Like, he didn't think that he was going to get him with the backslide, but he did. But I think that going into this a second time, he knew that Cash was going to be like, oh, yeah, well, 2 can play that game. And Adam Revolver's like, yeah, well, if you want to play that game, I know how to get out of that and put you on the mat for 1, 2,
Exactly.
3. And that's exactly what he did, because they don't show it in the aftermatch footage of Adam Revolver, but just for a second, as he's kind of like backing his way out towards the back of getting out of the ring, he had this smirk on his face, and it's like, yeah, right here.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel goes for the same move that put him away last week, and Revolver's like, nope, I'm going to go over and then roll over like this, and you're not going to know what's going to happen for 2.5 seconds, and once you realize it, whoops, too late.
Well, and this, from a storyline perspective, like kayfabe perspective, whatever, you're Cash Daniel, you're new on the block, and Adam Revolver squeaked out a victory over you last week, but wrestling Adam Revolver for 3 minutes is basically showing your entire playbook to him.
Pretty much, yeah.
He's been around too much. He's been around too long. He's been doing it for too long, not to be able to take advantage of any small hiccup that you might have. And that's why we see the pin that we get right here.
Yep.
Is to speak to your point. Cash Daniel wanted to win with the backslide.
Yes.
He came in with the plan to win with the backslide.
Yep.
And
Adam Revolver saw right through it. Adam
It was a
Revolver saw right
classic
through it.
spy versus spy move on Revolver's part. Congrats, by the way.
Yeah, this is going to be a great. Let him cook.
Yeah.
Here's a piece of advice to the OVW comment section on YouTube. Let him cook, all right? Gee whiz. Let's talk about the final match of the evening here. Bout 8, main event, hour 2, Brian Hines.
On one side of the ring, we've got Crixus, accompanied by Tony Gunn, and an axe handle that is covered in barbed wire. On the other side of the ring, we've got Dustin Jackson, accompanied by Cow Hero, an ad hoc reunion of the Fanny Pack Party.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What was the mood? What was the mood here for the main event?
Somewhat confusion, because I was sitting in the second row. If you're looking at the ring like you're watching it on TV, I was like right over here behind Chris Runyon and his wife Amanda. Lovely folks, by the way. If you
Yeah.
don't know them. Go up and say hi if you see them at Davis Arena.
I know. I saw them on the TV, so I know exactly where you're sitting.
Okay.
Where you're
All
sitting.
right. So you saw them. And I went back and watched this, and I couldn't figure out where this happened. But there was a point where Dustin Jackson was approaching the corner that was closest to us, and it appeared as though he had busted his lip.
So that would be the one furthest away from the entrance.
Yes, directly diagonally across from the commentary table. It appears as though he had busted his lip because he had like blood on like one of his teeth. But then the next thing I know, Crixus had been cut, like a very small cut, like right here on his forehead, and a lot of the focus of the match, or at least the attention of the people around me, was focused on Daniel Spencer trying to get the bleeding to stop during the match, while Dustin Jackson had him in a hold, a lock. They eventually do get it to stop, and there was I believe there was a Band-Aid that Daniel Spencer was able to apply to that.
So we've heard this before. It's you have like, is it 5? Is that what Ellie told us?
I thought it was 2 minutes.
Is it 2? I think it was Ellie that told us what the
law is.
The law is, and basically, for those of you that might not know or might not remember, tell me if I have this correct or not. If you can get it to unintentional bleeding, if you can get it to stop within a certain time frame, you're good to keep going.
Otherwise,
they have to call the match.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's a state law, right?
That's from the board. That's not OVW. That's the boys in Frankfurt.
Yes.
Decided that one. So, and I mean probably for there's good reason. There's good reason. I mean, you don't want to have uncontrolled blood at a wrestling match. Ask those folks over in Indiana.
No.
Let's see our first clip.
Couple of dudes in the back row who were sitting behind me. You've seen them before. They were, chanting all kinds of stuff, trying to get under Crixus's skin. And of course, you're not going to get the King of Kentucky like that. You're not going to get him riled up.
No, he's
both
too.
those guys in half.
He's too cool for that.
Yeah.
He's honestly too much better at trash talking than to get taken advantage of by some. I'm not going to use the G word. Some dudes in the crowd. No, so I loved Cal here on the outside of the ring. There were several moments where he kind of interjected to make sure that the match was run a little bit cleaner than the Revolution
Standing
would like.
between Dustin Jackson and Tony Gunn.
In wrestling, I like that a lot more as like a role than like just having your friend on the outside there to get in a wrestling match that's not sanctioned. Like just keeping it calm, keeping the control, right?
Yeah.
Trusting your boy Dustin Jackson that he can take the victory here if things just stay equal and even, right?
Right.
That's not what happens, though. Things can't stay equal and even because guess who's back? Let's see it, baby.
Hang on.
He's the OVW Media Champion.
There's the cutter.
Yeah, put everyone on the roster away with that thing at one point or another. Put everyone on the roster.
So you think
away.
that's it? But no.
Nope. Wine drunk Katie Gannon is back. 3 Merlots deep.
I'm
Just
here
got
for
back
it.
from TGI Fridays.
She needs to speak to the manager.
It's only Thursday. She's not coming into work tomorrow.
Nope.
It's great. Yeah, she needs to speak to the manager. Katie Gannon is much needed in this Revolution, Cal Hero, Doug Basham storyline.
Yeah, the Revolution part of it has been kind of lacking a little bit. There's a lot of people that were in the Revolution to start that aren't really around on TV as much. We haven't seen Dalton McKenzie. We haven't seen AJZ for a while, or Leo Fox, or Katie Gannon. But that all changed on Thursday, and I'm glad it did, because I feel like that's going to be more of an inspiration to the guys from the Revolution to make sure that they bring some of that gold back to the fold.
And it's just any situation that she's been in prior to this, and as a member of the Revolution, it's just been like chaos. It's just been like absolute chaos. And like when she comes out there and she starts yelling and screaming, it really is like the most obnoxious thing that you've ever heard in your life. And it's fantastic. It's great. She's
the most obnoxious thing that you've heard.
She's great at this role. She's great at this role.
Yeah, she is. I'm glad to see her back.
Me too. And
especially before a pay-per-view.
Dude, and you're talking about it being real in Davis Arena sometimes. People hate Katie Gannon in there.
Yeah.
like uncontrollably. Like, and I love that. I love that.
As
like,
soon as she
I
walks
love
through
when
the
people
curtain and
boo.
you hear that voice,
Yeah.
chorus of boos greet her.
Yeah, I love when people are booing and you can't tell if it's because they're getting worked or they're working along with like the crowd.
It's like that scene in Life of Brian where all the women go out to the stoning and everybody's screaming, but then they realize that they have to pretend that they're men, so then everybody starts screaming like this.
I guess that's what it's like. No, I'm very glad to see Katie Gaynor back, especially ahead of the pay-per-view. So what day is the pay-per-view again? Do we have
The
14th.
15th.
we have
14th,
one
yeah.
we have one more
Come
week
on, man.
of OVW. No, 2 more weeks of OVW. Yes,
Mhm.
prior to that. One this week, one next week. Things are just heating up, and we've still got 2 weeks to get to the pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
They've started the build for this pay-per-view super early. Love it. We already have the next pay-per-view date on the calendar for July's pay-per-view. Love it. Let's make this the summer we didn't have last year.
Amen to that.
I think they're on their way to it.
Yep.
I think they're on their way to it. Great
Set the
stuff.
stage for this pay-per-view. Looks like Dustin Jackson is severely injured. Cow Hero is knocked out of the way and being kept from helping him. Who comes to save the day? Eric Surge.
Yeah, Eric
That's
Surge
right.
shows himself again to be a very gregarious champion here. Always coming out to do the right thing. Always willing to be to show himself right. Doug, he's tangled up with Doug, et cetera, et cetera. Show ends in chaos. We don't really know what's happening next week. I guess we'll just have to tune in and find out.
You know I will.
Here at the end, want to say thank you, as always, to Ohio Valley Wrestling for letting us use the clips in our magic window. It's added a lot to our show. For all of us here at the Blimp, my name is Jack Minoaks.
I'm Brian Hines.
For Malachi P.S. Woodard, for Tiny Brian K. Woodard, and for Victor Anderson, this has been the OVW Podcast, the unofficial podcast of Ohio Valley Wrestling.
See you next time.